Hello, boys and girls. K-Bob here, and I think in this episode, I am going to talk about some simple ways of gaining ISK when you're first starting out. Since this is a relatively new character, I think it'd be a good idea to talk about it. Just essentially a few ways, and then how I'm gaining my money right now. So as you can see right now, I have about 1.3 million ISK, and I'll kind of talk about how I am gaining my ISK right now. So essentially, starting out, there's relatively a few ways of gaining ISK. The first is always mining, and while that may not be the best popular, but it is a good way of gaining some steady ISK. And really something you can do if you're just not really actively playing the game. Like if you want to watch a movie, you could easily just sit there and mine and then gain a good amount of ISK doing that. But it's not as entertaining. I will say doing some low-sec mining or mining in wormhole space might be a bit more interesting just because of the fact that there might be someone there trying to shoot you. But the way I'm going to talk about now is essentially salvaging from combat sites. And really, actually, I'm going to turn down the volume here real quick. So it is a little bit loud. There we go. So, really, salvaging I've found to be a pretty good way of making money. One of the things you can see here in my character is one of the things I was doing is I was gaining these little stat boosters, and they're about 3 to 4 million a piece right now. And I got that in about an hour or so. I was able to get about 12 million ISK just from this ship here. Just an actually rather crudely fitted Algos. Oh, I can just kind of show you. I have 3 railguns, 2 salvagers, a probe launcher, data and relic analyzer, afterburner, coprocessor to kind of boost my CPU so I can actually fit everything, armor repairer, and damage amplifier for my drones. Now, this obviously is not the most optimal. Really, if you're just running combat sites from anomalies, you don't need this, or this. And really, destroyers aren't really the best at tanking damage. Especially this guy, I would probably fit a bunch, 2 more of these drone damage amplifiers, and then probably put some shield tanking type things here, and maybe add an extra railgun. But this is the kind of setup I have. It works for me, and so far I'm okay with it. So let me go ahead and undock here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. And really, you can also do this from just level 1 missions, security missions. And hopefully there's one here. It looks like there might be. Yeah. So combat site here is a drone cluster. So we'll just go ahead and warp over there.
Warp drive active.
Let's kind of show you. Let's see what I have in here. 2.4 million here, and these are the things you get from salvaging here. And then I'll kind of talk about these little items that drop that aren't really worth anything, and so in a way to convert these into something that might be a bit more usable for gaining money. So here we are. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to this. I just like to launch my drones out and just have them do all the work while I just sit here like an overlord. And really, this is kind of what you do. So you gain money off of the bounties, and then you can salvage the wrecks and get parts, and that will probably be the main way of making your money. Unless something fancy drops from these. I don't think anything good drops from drones. I could possibly be wrong. And I guess for this, I should really limit this to just high sec. There's a bit of other things you can do in low sec to make more money. You can just farm rats and belts to gain money that way, and clone soldiers and whatnot. But just strictly limiting this to high sec, because as a new player, I don't think you really want to venture out to low sec. And yeah, of course I could orbit my ship around these guys, but they really don't do that much damage. I can see they've barely eaten them through my shields. But in the meantime, I can start targeting these guys and get my salvagers to work. Oh, that's too many. It's alright. And really, the drones will just go out and do their own thing. And if you get enough money, you can get a mobile tractor unit and just have that, just pop that out, and it'll start bringing wrecks to you. So you can really just sit here and all these wrecks will come close by and you can just salvage them as they come by. And the range on the salvager is within 5,000 meters. That's something to note. And really what I do, since these guys are pretty close by, in other places they're not so close by, you just kind of zoom out and you can find, like, here's a cluster. I would probably move over there and salvage them. But so far it looks pretty good. And for doing this, I really recommend destroyers, and that's just because they have a lot of high slots. You can essentially do it with anything, but it's nice to get a good amount of damage from your main guns, and then stick a couple of salvagers on there to salvage everything. Really, if you have a drone boat like this, excuse me, you can have a lot more salvagers and have your drones do all the work like I had them do. And you can just salvage everything. But to each his own, you can do it. If not, I mean, you'll still get the things. It's just a matter of speed. We'll go ahead and approach that. So I think we had 2.4 million. Once we get this, we'll kind of take a look, see how we did. Alright, there we go. And this last one. And if you run into issue of the salvage failing a lot, you can always train up your salvaging, and that is under, well, it's under one of these here, salvaging, under resource processing, salvaging. I think you start with level 3, but if you run into issues, and it's probably not until later until you salvage bigger ships, you might want to increase this. But at level 3, I think it's, so far for me, it's been doing rather fine. So let's take a look at what we have here. So about 300,000, not too bad, not too good, pretty decent. So a lot of things you'll come from crates when you destroy these ships. You'll find little small things like this. Let's see, estimated value on this is about 3,000 ISK, which is beans. It's nothing. But one of the things you can do, and you can't do it here, so we'll fly here,
Warp drive active.
is you can actually reprocess this into minerals. So you basically break it down to its basic components. You can do the same with this as well. And really, I've actually found that to be a pretty good way of turning something that's basically crap is like this into components that might add up to be a lot more than its value. So let's just go ahead and dock.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Let's take a look. So I have nothing, no items in my hangar here. So let's go ahead and reprocess this. So we're gonna turn it into its basic components here. There. Maybe that one wasn't so good, but there are ones that are better. There, let's just bring this out. Do that. One of the things you can get from ships are these little tags. And you can see that's estimated about close to 1 million ISK. And I think these you drop off at specific centers. And I'm not quite sure where they are, but you can easily look it up online. But yeah, so these guys here really are your main guys for money. And of course, whatever drops that might have value, that would work as well. And we really just pick up everything. Pick up everything you can. And if it doesn't look like it'll sell very well or sell for that high, you can always just reprocess it into its basic components like this and get enough of it and just sell it like that. Or you can use this to make your own things. So, in conclusion, that's really how I make my ISK so far in this game. While I haven't been playing for very long, and I'm sure there are better ways, but I have so far have found this to be a pretty decent way of making some ISK in the game in high security. So really, some closing points on this. Essentially, blow up ships, rats, and salvage what's in there. Some ways of doing that are through combat sites that you don't really need to scan down, and running security missions. So you'll get money for missions, you'll get money for completing the missions, and in general, from both combat sites and the missions, you'll receive bounty ISK, and they both have the potential to drop crates that have have items. Some good, some bad. The bads you can reprocess into minerals like that. And salvaging the ships. And really you can do this with any class of ship. Although the missions may have some restrictions. But assuming that you're rather new to the game, you kind of only have the frigates and the destroyers. And really the destroyers you can get from doing the career missions. So you can use those things that are given to you to make money and to use that to buy bigger and better things and to progress on in the game. And get better ships, use those better ships to get better money and just kind of really snowball down and making more money. So that's a good way of doing it. If you really have, I wouldn't say a lot of time in your hands, but if you're just not really, I don't know, say you wake up and you're like, oh, I just want to watch a movie and not really be active in the game, you can always mine. And if you completed some of the career missions, they'll give you a venture, which is an excellent starting mining ship, and you can mine quite a bit. I think one full ore container full of ore in a venture is roughly about 1 million, if I remember right. Somewhere around there, plus or minus, but I'd say on average about 1 million. and it's a steady way of making money as well. So either or, doing it, I find this to be a bit more entertaining. But yeah, to each is their own. This is how I do it. So far I've been happy with it. I'm gonna save up, get a few more implants. I think I need 2 more, and then I'll work on getting a cruiser and running some missions. But as always, guys, have fun playing this game. Sandbox game. Play it however you wish, and fly safe.